Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I am really excited to be here today with Callstack's engineering team. First, I want to introduce, we've got Mike. He's the co-founder and CTO of Callstack. We have Michał, who's a principal engineer for Callstack Incubator, which we'll talk about in a second. And we have Oskar, who's a senior software engineer and focuses on a ton of open source projects. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for the invitation.
So we're here at React Conf, and so I feel like one thing we should just get started on is talk a little bit about Callstack, and I want to talk about the React Foundation announcement that just came out. You all are one of the supporters. Can you talk about the foundation and why Callstack cares about React Native and where we're going?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, as of today, the React Foundation is public and known. That Meta team together with partners is working on it. It's been very long in the making, and I think it's very important for the stability and future development of the whole ecosystem that we have a governing body that can sort of help React and React Native grow further. From our perspective, we've been around for quite some time, helping community, developing some projects, as well as supporting Meta on this conference in particular, where we had a lot of time to learn what is it like to cooperate in the open source community with another bigger organization. And so personally, I'm super excited that the partnership we have on this conference is being put into another level where we can invite other partners like Amazon as well to sort of contribute to this effort.
And I know you all, Callstack for years has been maintaining several different libraries. Both Oskar and Michał, I'd love to talk a little bit about what are some React Native libraries that you're really passionate about?
When I contributed the React Native factory to iOS, so it was like 2 months into making, like pretty big PR. We contributed as an effort from React Native VisionOS, a library we created. And so this was the first release introducing this new API that made React Native Brownfield easier. So you could actually have one class initialize React Native on the native side. So yeah, this was
Brownfield being taking existing apps and starting to incrementally add React Native functionality into them.
Exactly. So before you had to copy everything from the templates. Yeah, we have the official template for React Native. You have to go there, copy some code and maintain it.
Yes.
But the React Native factory, it's like a way to initialize React Native with just one API and everything is done underneath. Okay. So we were working on VisionOS and there was a requirement to, reduce the maintenance load for the project because it is like every out-of-tree platform currently is a fork.
Yes.
So we wanted to share code between those platforms. And so React Native Factory, this API, allowed us to basically reuse whatever Meta was doing. And they have a lot of changes into this initialization code, especially when we were transitioning from old architecture to the new one. So yeah, this API is now stable. You can use it and it's pretty nice for Brownfield as well.
Michał, for you, I got this fancy new iPhone 17. So I was very out of date until I got
already was a case to not
fancy. I get the peak design case. Traditionally, if I was to build a React Native app that had really good search or good features, I would be running on AWS Bedrock. I'd be running Claude or some of the open weight models to improve my search. What practically does on-device AI, on-device model access mean for a developer? So yeah, kind of bring it home.
Mm-hmm.
What is actually on device versus what you have to call out to an API or an endpoint?
Yeah, so what's important or what we think is important is to use the tools that developers are already familiar with or they like already. So that's why the on-device AI or React Native AI project, as we call it, is heavily built around.
Until we lost the name on NPM because of my rookie mistake.
Oh yeah, that
turns out if you unpublish, it becomes free to use after 48 hours. So never unpublish, force unpublish a package.
Lessons learned.
So we only have React Native AI organization because I unpublished React Native AI package and somebody already took it. If you're listening, please give it back.
Come on, guys.
Continue.
Yeah. So are there even at a clear start, are there specific models that are on device? I can't even wrap my head around what is Apple providing, Because I think right now you're just doing iOS, eventually Gemma and Google Gemini support. What is on device that a dev could use in their apps?
Yeah, I started with the interface because how developers in React apps integrate with AI functionality are doing it today is they most likely use Vercel's AI SDK.
Yes.
And this is a really good, really convenient libraries.
That's like V0. That's the stuff that they've been doing.
Yeah, I guess it may power V0. But it's like if you basically want to build a chat application or some tool calling somewhere, you'll use ASDK because it has like schema, TypeScript support.
Or maybe LangChain, depending on where you.
Right. That was good. Yeah.
And the project is integrating local available models. And there are like two ways of having local models. Either they're already shipped by the manufacturer. So in terms of iPhone, I think iPhone 15, 16, 17 will have like a built-in large language model that's shipped by Apple, and it's there on a system.
It's like Apple's LLM.
It's Apple's LLM.
Oh, okay.
It's either built-in model or you can download one from Hugging Face, for example, which is like NPM for LLMs and then other models.
I just bought a Mac M4 Mini just so I could have comfy UI install like WAN 2.4 and a bundle of models like on device.
See, I think the question here is like there's so many things to unwrap here, but I think one of the things you have to answer yourself is what is the future of on-device AI in terms of where do these models come from? The good thing about how Apple approaches that situation, where I think it is still a huge area for exploration, is how they manage the resources. They have concept of assets catalog, which means all these models, whenever an application requests model to be present on the system for things like speech recognition, it will be downloaded to a cross-applicational folder that is called an asset catalog, meaning that all applications on device will be able to use it. So it's just downloaded once and it's stored once. Now, if you put it on the other side with alternatives, which mean getting model from Hugging Face, which is classically how you can do on-device AI for older models. It means 5 applications downloading 2.5 gig model from Hugging Face that are already 10 gigs of space gone.
That's going to add up pretty quick.
Exactly.
Right.
However, if you want to have a try with that one, we also provide an alternative, which is called, again, React Native AI /MLC. That's where we wrap a machine learning compute program library that lets you run arbitrary models. Now, there's so many engines that can run arbitrary models, and RLC is one of them. It has nice GPU acceleration. That's why we use it. You also have Executorch, which is mobile version of PyTorch for running models on device, and you have great library React Native Executorch from folks at Software Mention. So depending on which engine you want to work with, you can choose your option. And there's like plenty of them. You also have React Native Llama CPP equivalent. So for each of those runtimes, you have a way to run it. So depending on where you get your model from, you might be able to use one of these to run it as well.
Yeah, I think it's just going to change the footprint of apps the more that you can use on-device resources, especially once it goes and it's working for not just mobile, of course Android, but also for web and hopefully some other form factors in the future too. Really for you, Mike, like I want to hear about like what is the incubator? What's the focus?
We've been running R&D department pretty much ever since inception of the company. It was always very important for us to not only contribute back to the ecosystem by solving problems or fixing some issues, but also to try coming up with new ideas, pushing everybody to think outside of the box. And for years, we've been doing most of that work through our primary organization on GitHub, which was Callstack. Then one day, I sort of ran across the Callstack Incubator organization that I set up back in the day, but we never utilized it fully, and felt like that was a great place for us to put some of the new emerging projects that we work on to indicate that they're, I would say, not necessarily production ready yet, and that we may drop support for them at any point in time, but it just feels like a nice place for us to experiment.
And allows you to build in public
Exactly.
Right.
So the idea was that that sort of overlapped very nicely with our sort of internal investment towards open source, in which we created a dedicated team of full-time open source engineers, currently around 6.
Just working on open source.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Okay, so I want to wrap up with a couple things. So I want to, for each one of you, and I'll start with you, Oscar, some projects that you would love devs to try out, give you feedback, or just you've been excited about it and you want to try it out. Oscar, one thing, I love all the open source work you do, and so I thought for you, of course, we can talk about Liquid Glass. I'm actually really curious about your passion project, MiniSim.
Sure. So yeah, MiniSim, it was like my side project 2 years ago to learn Swift.
Okay.
And
what's it do?
So yeah, like it's fully native, so it's not React Native. It's a macOS app that lives in your menu bar. So you go to your menu bar and you get a list of like all of the iOS simulators, all of the Android simulators, and you can like quickly run them. So before you would have to either run it from Xcode, or if you
Or Android Studio.
or Android Studio, you have to spin up full Android Studio, then click start and like
I've been there. Yeah.
simulator running. So with this, you can like quickly get them open. You can also like do some custom commands. So it's like you can, for example, I don't know, speed up logging into your app using like ADB commands.
Yep.
For example.
Can you point it out a package, or you would put that in the load commands?
There is like a settings menu that lets you input your own custom command. Yeah, if I were doing this for like when I was working on a TV app, I would like quickly type in the passcode to the app to log in. So I was doing this with ADB. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like really lightweight, and that's
minisim.app.
exactly. And
All right. Michał, what's a project either you're passionate about or you'd really love some dev feedback on?
What I would like people to try is actually Rock and Rock Brownfield, because so this is especially to the native developers out there that have thought about adopting incrementally React Native or trying React Native somewhere in the past, and that wouldn't work for whatever reasons. Rock, with its Brownfield functionality, is currently the easiest way that we know of to start with React Native if you have iOS or Android application. So it's a matter, like, it allows you to quickly bootstrap a small React Native app, have an entry point for that, and like all the tools to package your app as a framework, so you can just then like drag and drop those frameworks into your application, import and instantiate React Native.
So I guess, Mike, to end it, what are projects or a particular project or library you would love some devs to hammer on and try out and give you feedback on?
Well, the on-device AI is definitely interesting, because that's the one where I spent a lot of...
And that's on Callstack Labs GitHub?
Yeah, Callstack Incubator. That's where...
GitHub/Callstack Incubator.
Exactly.
What-
/AI.
/AI. Okay.
Yeah. We have this plush where we can just use that out, right?
Well, for all three of you, I just really appreciate how much anyone can look at your projects, look at your actions on GitHub, and you are doing it day to day. You all build in public. You've been supporting the open source community for years. And so, yes, I know you have a business and it has to pays the checks, but I really appreciate how much you all lead by example, and really look forward to the projects that you release and update this year. So thanks for joining today.